for Thursday, August 31st, 2023. August is over. September is tomorrow. Interest on federal student loans begins to accrue after 3.5 very long years of no interest accruing. It's a pretty bad day, guys. And remember, that interest is going to turn back on. The repayments turn back on October 1st. And we still don't have our constitutional bankruptcy rights in our back pocket as they exist for all other loans. This could get really ugly, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the student debt collection industry, they are drooling at the prospect of these loans being turned back on and us remaining naked, vulnerable, and served up to them like turkeys at the Thanksgiving dinner. You know, as long as we don't have bankruptcy rights, guys, this thing could get very ugly. Now, for those of you who are new to the group, let me say welcome. We are Student Loan Justice. We're the oldest, largest, first, and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've been around for 18 years, guys. We're fighting for two things: the return of bankruptcy to student loans and the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order. That whole concept, all the stuff we're seeing right now with Biden and the Supreme Court and all that stuff, started on this group. I kid you not. We did the very first media interview about the president's power to cancel loans through the Higher Education Act, Section 1082, sorry. But it was our group that started the petition like months and months and months before Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer publicly called for the cancellation of student loans by executive order. So we're fully on board with canceling loans by executive order, guys. But I'm here to tell you that we know this subject way too well after 18 years of, some might say, obsessive, maybe even compulsive attention paid to this issue. And I can tell you that we can be begging Joe Biden or the next president forever to cancel loans, and they will continue to toy with us forever, as long as we don't have the power, the leverage of bankruptcy rights in our back pocket. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, guys, least of all me, least of all you. The founding fathers knew that bankruptcy was so important that they called for uniform bankruptcy rights, laws, or AKA rights, in the Constitution, ahead of the power to declare war, raise an army, and ahead of all the powers and freedoms enumerated in the Bill of Rights. They knew something, and this student loan scam, and it is a scam, is exactly what the founding fathers wanted to avoid. So we have the founders on our side, certainly on bankruptcy. But anyways, so tonight I want to talk about just sort of important things that you may want to be thinking about as they're turning these loans back on. If you have any questions or comments and you're watching us on Facebook and or Twitter, then feel free to throw them out. And if I can see them live, I will very gladly read them aloud on air. If I can see them, that's not always a guarantee. I have just a couple of announcements before we begin. So I have to lead with this, guys. We do need donations here, guys. We survive and thrive on very little in terms of just modest, moderate personal gifts from normal people. So if you see the link below, studentloanjustice.org/donate. This week we need, I think, 19 or 18 people to donate $20. So that's for this week's expenses. We are always like a week away from insolvency, guys. So if you appreciate all the work that this group has done, all the work that we are doing, and all that we are poised to get done, then just please donate, would you please? So I can shut up about it, because I suck at fundraising. And it would be a real tragedy and a shame, a national loss, if this group was to go away because of lack of funding. So please donate. Second announcement, we're expecting some national media to be interviewing and publishing interviews that they did with our members over the past couple of weeks. This is something we're doing in concert with change.org. You can see by the way, sign our petition at change.org/cancel student loans. So we're looking forward to that. We've also got quite a few very interesting high profile national news interviews coming up. So that's good. And by the way, we encourage all of you to tell reporters that you know, or maybe that you don't know, to interview us, because there's a lot of unreported stuff out there. Which brings me to tonight's topic, things that you might want to think about. And these are things that you probably don't know. If you're new to the group, you definitely don't know these facts that I'm about to put to you that you may want to be aware of as they're turning these loans back on. So the first and most important thing that everybody needs to know is that before the pandemic, nearly 60% of all borrowers, that's 3 in 5 of all borrowers, were not paying on their student loans. 60%. And even if you take out the people who are in college or maybe on a grace period, still well over half of the borrowers were not paying on their loans. So that's before the pandemic. Now, I think we all know over the pandemic, we see inflation has sucked up every nickel we were saving from this interest rate pause, this repayment pause. So whatever money we may have been paying before the pandemic is now gone. Saving during the pandemic is now gone because of inflation. My best estimate is that when they turn these loans back on, which happens tomorrow, my best estimate is that something like 75, 80% of the people, us, the student loan borrowers, 4 out of 5, will not resume paying on their loans. Now, I know if you read the media, everybody, the government, the establishment, the student loan swamp, I like to call it, they're doing everything possible to get people to sign up for, the new SAVE plan, the new IDR that's out there. That's just designed to fail. Let me just let you all know. We've been doing this for 18 years, guys, and for the past 30 plus years, we've seen any number of these similar income-driven repayment plans come and go and come and go. Starting with income contingent repayment, disaster. As of a couple of years ago, exactly 32 people had ever gotten their loans canceled through ICR, and that's a 30-something-year-old program, roughly 30-year-old program. Income-based repayment, same thing. The cumulative disqualification rate for all of the IDRs, and there's no reason to believe that this will be any different from the new and improved SAVE plan, cumulative disqualification rate for all of these plans is over 90%. So, as long as we don't have bankruptcy rights on our side, as long as statutes of limitations are gone from these loans, the Department of Education can run, and its contractors, the servicers, Nelnet, Navient, you name it, AidVantage, which is the new one, they can run these income-based repayment programs in the worst of bad faith so that almost everyone gets kicked out of these things, doesn't get the loan cancellation promised. And that's what they do, and that's what they have done, and there's no good reason to believe that they'll do anything different going forward. So anyways, back to my first point. 4 in 5, my best estimate of all borrowers will not resume making payments on their loans come October 1st when they demand that. That probably is you. If you're within the sound of my voice and you have federal student loans, odds are you will be among those not repaying your loans. So I would say that don't feel bad. What do you even call it when 4 out of 5 borrowers in a lending program are not making payments? Does that lending program even exist? I think not. Federal student loan program is catastrophically failed with a capital F. The pandemic was essentially the nail in the coffin. And it's not your fault, by the way. We didn't ruin this lending system. This lending system tried to wreck us. We don't have to put up with this bullshit. I see so many people on our group. They're so worried, and they're trying to find just the right way to tiptoe through the minefield of this just outrageously confused and I would say disintegrating federal lending program. And, I tell people, there's a lot that we can control, a lot we can't control. The one thing that we can control is how hard we fight for the return of bankruptcy protections to these loans. As I said, we can be begging Joe Biden for forgiveness and cancellation all day long. By the way, we haven't done anything to be forgiven for. This is a student loan scam. And the founding fathers are looking down, wondering how their citizens got so weak to to allow themselves to be essentially forced off the grid, turned into meek, little shy little mice, walking through life with their tail between their legs, trying to find the way to navigate the maze that is the federal student loan program. Founding fathers are looking down and going, why have our citizens not thrown this damn thing off of their backs like years ago? Why have they not burned their student loan papers and thrown the ashes in the harbor? Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to happen. And it's not really a protest. It's certainly not a strike. It's just people are done. The lending system is finished. It's toast. Lending systems fail from time to time. So you may want to think about that and think about how scared you really need to be about this ridiculously failed federal student loan program. And I know a lot of people are worried. I get that. Here's one thing you may, if your loans are not in default currently, you may want to be aware that a lot of our members pay nominal payments every less than 9 months. So every 270 days or less, they make a nominal payment of $10 or $20. And at least so far, that is a way to keep their loans out of default. The balance still grows. It's no solution, but at least it does keep your loans out of default. I know that's one of the things that many people are very worried about. But guys, I think about it this way. Here's another fact that it's a point to ponder that you may want to consider. Before the pandemic, as I said, what I just said about 60% of the people not paying, but before the pandemic, 85% of all borrowers, that's more than 4 in 5, were never going to be able to repay their student loans. So either they had stopped paying altogether, and that's what I said, well over half, or they were paying and paying and paying, but their loan balances were going up, not down, up. 85% before the pandemic were never going to be able to repay their loans, guys. I don't think this economy's gotten much better. I think that 85% is going to go up to, 90, 92%. There's always going to be some successful people out there that are able to repay their loans come hell or high water, and that's great. Good for them. That's not 90 or 85% of all borrowers, guys. And chances are, if you're watching me, you are in the 85 or 90% who were never going to be able to repay their loans, even before the pandemic. And going forward, certainly will not be able to repay your loans. So, guys, in a way, that should be maybe a relief to you all, right? Because student loans are essentially becoming one big national joke at this point. And to those of you who are really stressing out about it, I would tell you, take a breath, realize that you're not alone. In fact, realize that if you're in a room full of people and all of them have student loans, say 100 people, probably only a small corner of that room will resume paying. The vast majority of everyone in that room are done. They're finished. The student, and by the way, many of those people have already repaid their student loans, some of them many times over. We've had people in our group that borrowed $25,000, have repaid $100,000 into this loan scam, and still owe like $130,000. And that's just one example from the top of my head. I can come up with hundreds more. So, but whatever your situation may be, don't feel bad. Lending systems fail from time to time. It happens. Don't pay attention to the overwhelming tidal wave of propaganda that's been being pushed into our brains, or at least trying to be pushed into our brains by the mainstream media, by the establishment, if you will, by the relatively small cadre of people who make their living off of this loan scam. That's all this is, guys. We can't control the media. 98% of the media is literally seated by our opposition. These relatively small cadre of people who are making money from this thing on Wall Street, in Washington, D.C. And quite frankly, I would probably include the colleges in all this, because the colleges are making, the colleges are in the catbird's seat. They love this lending scam. It keeps them funded to the tune of $100 billion per year. So, you know, the media should be our friend, sometimes is our friend. You know, we've been featured top story on 60 Minutes. We've been featured on Fox News many times, MSNBC, The Guardian, The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, you name it, we've been in it. So the media can at times be our friend, but guys, it's gotten so bad in recent months and years. As I said, 95, 6, 7, 8, 9% of the media is just, it's plastic, it's fake, it's, I don't know, I don't think astroturf is the right name, but it's not to be taken seriously, guys. It's propaganda. Maybe that is the best word for it. So yeah, I'm running up against my time here, so I think I will just leave it there at that for now. But those are a couple points that you may want to ponder. You're not alone. Most people won't be paying. Most people couldn't pay before the pandemic. But maybe the most important point that I already made that I'll make to end this with, just to cement it in your mind, when these loans turn back on and we don't have the constitutionally enshrined right of bankruptcy in our back pocket, things could and probably will get very ugly. You know, if even 10%, 1 in 10 of the people on our group had been doing our daily actions since, let's say, January 1st, this problem would be solved by now. 10% of the people on our group doing our daily actions, and you can see them right there, would be 140,000 people a day, overwhelming the phone lines of every congressman and woman that we target, every senator, would be completely blowing up every Twitter account of everyone that we ever targeted. And that's if only 1 in 10 of the people on our group were doing our daily actions. Think about that. Think about the muscle that we have to flex. And think about the fact that if you, and you probably weren't, if you were doing our daily actions every day, it doesn't take long, usually less than a minute per day. If you were doing our daily actions starting January 1st of this year, and if even 10% of our members were doing our daily actions since January 1st, bankruptcy would have been returned months and months ago, and they would have had to broadly cancel broad swaths of student loan debt, and this problem would essentially be solved today. And that's going back only, 8 months? Almost 9, maybe 9 months. So think about that. And I would only urge, I would get on my knees and beg you, if I thought you would do it, if it helps, to do our daily actions. Like on any given day, we have somewhere a few hundred, maybe even a few thousand people sometimes doing these. But I'm telling you guys, this is your battle and this is your fight. And it's getting very real starting tomorrow. So there's no time like the present to start doing our daily actions, which involve pressuring the president, I might add, from time to time, usually Congress, but often the president as well. This is the best, most efficient use of your time, these daily actions. You got to have a Twitter account, get a Twitter account, or an X account, as they say these days. Thanks, Elon. But make it happen. No excuses. Turn over a new leaf. These are your loans. This is your problem, and we need you. And we have a massive muscle to flex like nothing else this country has ever seen before. And it all of it depends on you. So at the very least, just go to bit.ly/SLJ Daily Action and just read them for yourself. You'll see how easy they are. It's like retweet this, retweet that. We make it very easy for you. So this is a working fighting group, guys. It always has been. Nothing happens until you make it happen. We're not going to kiss your ass. We're not going to blow smoke up your ass like the other fake, and I mean fake, I mean corrupted fake, AstroTurf groups that you are very likely to find way easier than us on the internet, claiming to be fighting for student loan borrowers when they're actually just trying to make money off of your ass by selling your ass to the student loan industry, getting you to consolidate your loans, getting you to rehabilitate your loans, and all these other scams. We don't do that, guys. This group knows the path. And you should be glad that you found us. You should be proud to be fighting with us. And you should tell everyone you know with student loans about this group. So I will leave it there at that. I'm very sorry if I missed some of your comments tonight. It's Twitter. It's a Twitter and Facebook thing. So okay, guys, hang in there. Fight the good fight. Do our daily actions. Last thing I'll say, and just please donate. Literally, guys, it doesn't take much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck, Godspeed, and God bless.